Hello, Looney listeners. This is Ray here. Just wanting to say, look, if you like Moon Knight, I urge you to give The Fringe Knight a go. This is a self-published indie release by creator and writer Daniel Doing, and it's a ripper of a read. The Fringe Knight is an adventure comic series set in Erie, Pennsylvania, and the series stars the title character who protects his city from every threat imaginable. From radioactive wolfmen to mad scientists putting poodles in giant robots, the Fringe Knight is there to protect. Definitely worth checking out. I highly recommend it. Available, just check out the show notes in this episode, but Fringe Knight has a Facebook page as well as a Patreon page, and you can also find all the comics on indieplanet.com. So check out Fringe Knight by Daniel Doing. Alright, let's get on to the show. Hello Loonies, hi, this is the High Priest of Khonshu, Ray, and as you can hear, we are up in the Mooncopter. Not just myself, I have special guest Jack Russell Moran. I was about to call you Jack again. Russell, how are you going?
Good, how are you?
Yeah, good. As you can see, Russell, we are up high. We're about to drop into Grant Mansion. Have you got your glider cape ready?
Oh yes, I just don't want to accidentally run into any, flying pumpkin wielding people while we're out here.
Frenchie is a good pilot. Don't worry, he's got our backs. Look, I'm just going to adjust my glider cape as well. We're all good. We're still in touch with Frenchie as well with our cows. Why don't we aim towards that pool down there, and then we can kind of go through that tunnel up out Mark Spector's bedroom, and we'll be ready for the show.
All right,
here we go. Yes, welcome back, Loonies. You are listening to Into the Night, the Moon Knight podcast. This is episode 187. I've dried myself off. I've got, a nice fluffy towel. And this is an Isla Ra Sessions. So, with me, as you heard before, up in the Mooncopter, we've gone through the underwater tunnel. We've come out the other side. We are now sitting, nice plush leather seats. We've got a roaring fire, as always. Jack Russell Moran. Russell, it's great to have you back in the mansion.
Oh, yes. I'm glad to be back. I'm glad it's not a full moon, because, I might turn.
Well, exactly. Don't mind us, Russell. We do have some scopes trained on you, just in case. Don't worry, tranquilizers.
Oh.
But Russell is joining me tonight in Grant Mansion, of course, to discuss his 4 Desert Island books, or what I'd like to call our Isla Ra books as well. So these are 4 books, 4 single books you could not live without. So it should be interesting to see Russell's pick. I do know them. They are very, very cool indeed. And as always, listeners, if you want to be privy to them before actually listening to this, why don't you hit pause and just click the encrypted links in the show notes, and they'll take you to Russell's 4 Desert Island books, and then you can get acquainted with them, and then click unpause and resume listening, or you could just be surprised at what lies ahead. But there are encrypted links in the show notes, just in case you want to see what Russell has chosen. So Russell, yeah, welcome. Far out. I mean, how are you enjoying it? Are you drying off okay? Are you
Oh yeah.
Yeah, the fires. Yeah, you had some soggy socks there. We've put them up, hung them up over the mantelpiece.
It's getting nice and toasty now.
Good. Is it is it hot or cold your neck of the woods at this time?
It's pretty cold. We're in for a really cold week coming soon. I don't know how to convert that to Celsius, but it's going to be below zero here in Fahrenheit.
Okay, yeah. Wow. I think that'd be close to the lows here as well. Far out. So that'll be well, let's make sure that you're kept warm here, Russell. So hang on, why don't I just ring the bell? There we go, and we'll go grab Samuels. Samuels, as always, is very accommodating for our guests, and he can bring over a drink, maybe to warm the throat there for you, Russell. How's that, eh?
Okay.
If you're a whiskey man, coming your way. But anyway, just to kick off, I guess, and also as well, Loonies, just to let you know, so Ryla Sessions generally invite some Loonies over just to learn a bit more about, you know, your fellow Loonies, as well as maybe get some really top recommendations as to what to read, you know, comics-wise. So generally, I find this really enjoyable to do because it opens my eyes to potentially issues that I haven't read before. It's always interesting to know why particular Loonies like yourself, Russell, why you think they're good, or why they hold an importance for you. All that sort of stuff is really cool. And before even that, we'll just kind of, I don't know, just scratch the surface, learn a bit more about you, Russell, see what makes you tick. Yeah, it should be fun.
All right, I'm looking forward to this. I listened to a few Isla Ra in anticipation of this, and they both sounded like a real good time.
Ah, awesome. Yeah, they're always a lot of fun. But anyway, to kick off, Russell, you had dropped in a couple of things you want to have a bit of a chin wag about. So we've got some current topics, which I mean, geez, it's on the lips of everyone who's a comic book fan here. But I guess first off, WandaVision, Russell.
Yeah.
Yeah. How
I had quite a few people in my circle who aren't necessarily comic book fans, but they're big MCU fans.
Okay.
And they watched the first couple, and they thought, they're like, how do I get through this? This is terrible. And I was like, I loved it. Yeah. Because I guess I kind of anticipated that it was going to be that way just from the trailers. Mm-hmm. But I guess they weren't expecting that. They weren't expecting, this is going to be a 1950s sitcom for the first episode.
Yeah.
No, yeah. I thought it was really good. It was funny, but it also had that underlying sense of, something's not right here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I kind of get where your friends are coming from as well, because I'm a big MCU fan as well and a comic fan. And I knew the premise, like as a sitcom and would go through the decades. I thought that was a pretty funky concept. And, you know, don't get me wrong, I enjoyed episodes 1, 2, 3. But there was, I don't know, around the middle, towards the end of those episodes, I was thinking, there was a thought in my head like, okay, can we kind of progress now? Like, I get it, it's a nice sitcom. Because it is literally like a sitcom, half hour of a sitcom.
Yes. Yep.
And for someone wanting to kind of know what's underneath the surface, and they do kind of tease it throughout the way, it did seem a little slow in that regards, but I did enjoy it. I mean, it was just like, it wasn't what I expected, that pacing. But once we hit that episode 4, I thought, you know, once things were starting to be kind of revealed and explained, I'm absolutely loving it now.
Yeah, I mean, Vision and Wanda, I feel like we're two of the least represented characters in the movies. Mm. And I love Wanda. I think Elizabeth Olsen is great, not just because she's great to look at, but she's also great actress. And Vision I like, but I feel like the last two movies. Well, the last movie he was really in, he was pathetic. He was he was injured the whole movie, and then he was killed by Thanos. I like where this is going. I like all the people that are like clamoring and trying to guess what's going on, and it seems like it's pulling from mostly I would think the Tom King Vision run, uh, which I didn't read, but I kind of knew the basic premise. You know, it was Vision in like this kind of 1950s family setting,
Yeah.
but also a little bit of, not to get too spoilery, but a little bit of House of M.
Oh, for sure. For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I see that a lot in there. I mean, I do see the Tom King's Vision run, but it's funny. It's made it more like Wanda-centric for obvious reasons than Vision being in there. Yeah, I similar to you. I've always been a little frustrated with Vision because he, apart from say the Age of Ultron, I like the character. I think he's great. But apart from, say, the Age of Ultron, we haven't seen him really unleash. He's always been hindered. Like, he's been like an injured kind of team player for most of the part. And he's such a powerful character. Like, if you look at him changing density, become as hard as diamond, he can become like a ghost. He can shoot that thing from his forehead. He's a really cool character, but we don't really ever get to see that in the MCU because he's kind of either permanently injured and all that. And I really did enjoy, I mean, speaking with what you were saying about Wanda, one of my favourite scenes in, it was Infinity War, I think it was with Wanda and Vision in Scotland, and that fight that they have, with the Black Order, that was great. I thought it was great, because you could see Wanda's, what she can do, and she's a lot more accomplished. And Vision had to go. Yeah, he had to go as well, but he got injured again.
And the fact that she was pretty much single-handedly able to take on Thanos by herself.
Yes.
Even when he had 4 stones already, she was able to hold him back. But
he was only. He only managed to get out of that because he asked for that. Was it the Rain of Fire or something? He asked for the Armadas to shoot the stuff down. So, by all rights, she was about to kind of... Which is really cool, I think. I mean, if anything, I would have expected Captain Marvel to be the one to really give it to him. But Wanda, far out.
I think they're kind of teasing... I mean, especially now during WandaVision, that she's more powerful than anybody thought,
Yeah.
Us comic book fans know that Scarlet Witch is really powerful, but they had just scratched the surface in the MCU with her being as strong as she is.
Yeah.
And I'm also wondering if she's gotten a little power boost from somebody. I'm wondering if there's somebody pulling the strings with her still that we don't know about. But
that has to be the case as well, because I've had some discussions as well about WandaVision, and again, listen, look, there might be a bit spoilery here, so if you haven't caught up to the latest WandaVision, episode 5, you may want to just, fast forward a few minutes or so, but anyway, what did you make? Yeah, Russell, I like actually what you implied then, because it was kind of a little bit glossed over about how she all of a sudden now is being able to alter reality. I mean, we know as a comic book fan that's what she does, but she's always shown to be telekinetic and telepathic. All of a sudden now she's created this bubble and she can alter reality. I don't know how that works.
Right. The common theory online, which I think there's a lot of weight to, is that Mephisto is behind this.
Yeah, everyone's saying that. Yeah.
Especially with, it being called the Hex, which, Scarlet Witch uses Hex in the comics and all that. But there seems to be, I don't know how to quite put it, there's almost a satanic quality to the going-ons inside the bubble. Like, I almost get a Rosemary's Baby kind of vibe.
Okay.
She either has been holding back, or her psyche has, unleashed this extra power, or she's getting some kind of boost.
Yeah.
Now, I'll go ahead. Sorry.
Oh no, sorry. Go ahead, Russell. Sorry.
I was just going to say that. A lot of people are talking about that big ending for episode 5.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm of the mind that yes, it was a big shocking reveal, but I'm not thinking too much into it.
Okay.
Like, I don't think that this is, oh my god, that means they're bringing over the Fox X-Men. I think when they do the X-Men, they're going to do their own cast and they're going to start fresh.
Mm-hmm.
But we know that this is going to play into Spider-Man 3 and Multiverse of Madness.
Yep.
So, I mean, yeah, this could be the Quicksilver from the Fox universe, because we know even in the MCU continuity that the 616 exists as an alternate timeline too.
Yes.
So,
no, yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's so much fun you can have with this multiverse concept, you know, and I think it is. I think it is a Pietro from the Fox universe, so to speak. Because I mean, again, this is all just hearsay, but again, like as you mentioned, from the Spider-Man 3 coming up, we're going to get the Sony, you know, I think it's just been announced Willem Dafoe has been seen on set. We're going to get Tobey Maguire, Andy Garfield. So, you know, that just, it's so much fun. And I'd like it to be just, you know, them from their own universe, you know, I mean...
Right.
And more so, like, as in a guest appearance, and it's just
right.
like a little nod. It's like, okay, so there isn't a universe out there, and guys, when you've been watching those Fox movies, that was an alternate reality, alternate universe, and I like how that kind of ties up. But yeah, there's also. Sorry.
No, go ahead. I feel like we had this problem last time. I feel like I keep cutting you off.
No, that's okay. It's good. We both got some great ideas. I wanted to put it out there as well. We were talking about Wanda's powers, and there's a theory as well that that's how Monica Rambeau will get her powers. Right. Because they're talking also about Darcy was talking about that cosmic radiation, the cosmic rays. Yeah. But also this funkiness of Monica having been in the bubble and being spewed out of it, she might have a few other attributes now, which is so exciting for me because I cannot wait to see her flex her muscles, so to speak. Right.
Now, a theory that I think would be really cool, but I haven't seen anything online about it, so this might be a first time anybody bring this up. I'm wondering if somehow through, you know, since we have all these alternate dimensions and she's able to basically bend reality to her will, you know, are we going to finally have Scarlet and Pietro have their real dad?
Yeah. I reckon that would be so cool too.
Yeah.
Unless they go the route of the new retcon though, but yeah.
Right, yeah. Which they only did that retcon because they were mad at Fox.
Yes,
so they could easily get rid of that, you know. But you know,
yeah, that would be so cool. Again, I think anything is possible. Like if you get Evan Peters, imagine seeing Michael Fassbender just you know pop up in some weird. So yeah, so many cool notions with WandaVision. I just can't wait, and I just watched at the time of this recording, I just watched the Super Bowl trailer of Falcon and Winter Soldier. I'm not sure if you've seen that, Russell.
I have not seen it. I have not.
Oh, it's really good. It's really good. So, man, the pedal.
I'm really.
Yeah.
I just wanted to say I was really excited because Helmut Zemo is like my favorite Captain America villain.
Yes.
And I was like, I love Civil War, but I was really disappointed with him in that movie.
Yep.
And now that he's getting his iconic mask and all that, it's just like, oh, this is what I wanted from the beginning. Yeah,
I think you'll be very well satisfied with it. I mean, no spoilers from the trailer, but I mean, there's nothing to spoil, but it's basically, you see Zemo, he's walking, and he says something like, do you think I would just let all my work go to waste? Like, referring to Civil War, what he's done. So he's at it again, and he's holding his purple mask. It looks so cool. So I'm really excited for that, but you know, the excitement's not going to let up. You know, we've got WandaVision, which is fantastic, and like we've got a week break, and then we've got Falcon and Winter Soldier. It's crazy.
Yeah, I was a little disappointed because obviously in the comics, Helmut Zemo was the son of the original Baron Zemo,
Yep.
and like in the MCU, he's just kind of a nobody.
Sokovian, if anything.
Yeah.
Just a family man that lost his family.
I'm just kind of wondering if they could retcon somehow that, he had more motives than just that and all that. But, if they don't, they don't.
Yeah. It could be one of those instances where they just kind of just roll with it now, and he just happens to be a very proficient, civilian who happens to be able to strategize and go up against the heroes. But no, I know what you mean. If in any case, I'm happy we'll aesthetically get him, so that'll be cool.
Yeah.
Moving along to as well, we also mentioned this big one, Russell, Godzilla versus Kong.
Oh my god.
Oh my gosh, I've just been privy to also as well. Again, have you seen? There's another trailer that's been dropped, I think, from in Japan. It actually shows Godzilla smacking Kong. Did you see that?
No, I have not.
Yeah, it's on that ocean carrier thing. You know that original preview with Kong punching Godzilla. Yep. Apparently, then Godzilla retaliates and just swipes him. King hits him. Yeah. So, battle of the Titans.
Godzilla is one of the franchises that is nearest and dearest to my heart ever since I was a kid. Mm-hmm. I own all the movies. I've seen them all, over 30 Godzilla movies. And like when the last one came out, King of the Monsters, I was like, the movie overall, the humans and stuff wasn't particularly great, but as a love letter to Godzilla, I'm not ashamed to say I was in the movie. I was so happy. I was bawling like a baby.
Oh, nice one. Cool.
When they brought back his theme music from the old movies.
Oh, wow.
It tugged at my heartstrings. I was 6 years old again. So,
that's so cool. I'm so glad for you. I mean, like for the lifelong fans, that would be such a payoff. I'm very much a newbie myself, but when I was young, I had watched King Kong. I think it was the 70s. I've seen that numerous times as a family. We'd watch
with Jeff Bridges
and Jessica Lange. Was it?
Yes.
Yeah, so I remember that fondly because I think they played it every year or something, and as a family, we'd always end up watching it because it was on prime time, 8:30 at night. So I just remember the heartbeat, at the end of that, and it just disappeared. Oh, so touching! It was
sad scene.
Very sad. I love Kong in regards. Godzilla, I've only kind of like tangentially come across, but I've always thought he's pretty cool as well. But wow, you've watched all like 30 odd films. That's awesome.
Yeah, I've always loved Kong too. Like, I think that the original 33 Kong is still a masterpiece. Like how they were, they basically had to create techniques just to make the movie. Like techniques that people still use to this day, like certain stop motion techniques and stuff.
Kind of sounds like Star Wars in that sense. Star Wars was like trailblazing.
And in a weird way, like Kong has kind of influenced, Star Wars in that way. It definitely influenced Peter Jackson because the two things that he wanted to make were Lord of the Rings and King Kong, and he got to make both.
Yep.
So, but yeah, I love Kong. I especially loved the Skull Island. I thought that was really good.
See, I'm going through my watch. I've started at the beginning. I've watched King Kong, the Peter Jackson one, and I've ordered the Blu-rays to the other ones because they're hard to find online. So I haven't watched them yet, but I'm looking forward to Skull Island and Godzilla 2014 and the King and Monsters. I haven't seen them yet.
Oh my gosh! I think you're in for a treat.
Oh, I can't wait.
They're all very different. They're tonally, they're all very different.
Okay.
But I would also recommend, I don't know if you're interested in watching any of the actual Japanese Godzillas.
Yeah,
but
Yeah, they're pretty hard to. I mean, I guess you can buy them digitally, can't you? Or
Yeah.
okay, I should be able to.
And I know in the U.S. and America they just came out with a couple box sets.
Okay.
But I think the one I'd recommend the most for you is probably the most recent, which was Shin Godzilla.
Yeah, I've seen the cover to that. I didn't know what the deal was. Shin Godzilla. Is that a different Godzilla or?
Well, see, the Godzilla movies are weird in that, like, every so often they basically reboot.
Okay.
And this one is like a heavy. It's pretty much a modern remake of the original Godzilla, which I would also recommend you see because, most people think Godzilla. They think, oh, these are silly Japanese monster movies.
Mm-hmm.
Mostly because of the dubs have made everybody really.
Yeah.
But the Shin Godzilla actually won the Oscar for Best Picture in Japan.
Wow.
So,
okay.
and I would say the original and Shin Godzilla would be the best ones to whet your appetite because they're very serious. They're like the tone is very dark and grim, and like they're metaphors. Or the original is a metaphor for Hiroshima.
Yes.
And the new one is a metaphor for like the Fukushima, the earthquake.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
So
Okay,
definitely check those out.
They sound good. I mean, is Godzilla? Is he like a noble creature, or is he just mindless? Or there's got to be some sort of heroics to him. Yeah. I mean, why do you back it? Why do you back him? I mean, why do you like him? Because is he just like an anti-hero?
They portray him in different ways. In the original Godzilla, the first few, he was a bad guy. Okay. He was a monster, and he was destroying the city, and like he would fight other monsters, but they were trying to stop him. Mm-hmm. Well, about a few movies in, he kind of did what in wrestling you'd call a face turn, where you turn good.
Okay.
And he was basically a big superhero for the next several movies. But then Godzilla went dormant for a while, and he came back in the mid '80s. Mm-hmm. And that is my favorite characterization of him because he's not good, he's not bad, he's literally a force of nature.
Okay.
Like, he's no different than a hurricane or a tornado, or he just comes, and when he comes, you all better brace yourselves, and if there's another monster, he'll fight that thing too.
Okay.
So,
yeah.
Now, the more recent movies, I know you haven't seen them yet, they kind of harken back to the Godzilla as a superhero type thing. He's very much a good guy in those.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean that's really. I mean, the thing I like about Kong is that he shows compassion. You know, there are things you can see the emotions with him. Like I loved it how he formed an attachment to is it Anne? I can't remember her name. Naomi Watts. And Jessica Lange, and then you see in the previews for this Godzilla vs Kong, he has an attachment to this little girl. I just like that sort of human aspect of him. And look, I find Godzilla really cool and stuff as well, but I kind of connect to Kong a bit more because of that.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you always gravitate towards what you grew up with too.
Yeah. But I'm looking forward to.
Seeing as I grew up with both of them, and also I have to mention that this is not the first time that they've battled. 59 years ago, King Kong versus Godzilla came out. So,
who won? Who won?
Well, actually, Kong won that one, but because that was when Godzilla was a straight-up bad guy, and Kong was more of a box office name at the time.
Right.
But that movie was extremely successful in Japan and in the U.S. But
okay.
Yeah.
Even with the
terrible Kong suit in that movie. Terrible Kong suit. Most of the suits, I think, are pretty cool and hold up. But that Kong one, man. That was terrible.
Oh, jeez. I'm just picturing they just got a hairy guy with a monobrow, a unibrow. So come on.
Think about like your generic gorilla Halloween costume, right?
Yes, yeah.
And then like make it 40 times worse.
Oh my god, that's terrible. Oh jeez.
Yeah. I might send a screenshot later of the old Japanese Kong here in a minute, so you can look at what he looks like.
Okay, no worries. Finally, as well, before we get kind of underway with some of our core questions, Russell, you mentioned also about Spider-Man viral marketing. I'm not too familiar with this.
Okay, so after I sent this to you, I'm now wondering if this was like a hoax.
Okay.
Or because a few media websites commented or, reported on this.
Mm-hmm.
Now I can't find the original post. So apparently, there is an Instagram account.
Yeah.
Or was. It seems to no longer exist. That was official. It's like an in-character Instagram from Flash Thompson in the MCU Flash Thompson. And he's posting what the character would post about and stuff. Well, apparently he posted a picture of all of his classmates, and he had drew over some of the people.
Mm-hmm.
And on Ned Leeds, Peter's best friend, he drew what looks like an orange hood over his head.
Oh, that's cool.
And kind of implying that maybe he's the Hobgoblin. But I do know that that actor has lost a ton of weight and is in shape now.
Yeah.
So
that'd be
interesting.
That would be interesting. That would be a little, like disappointing, but like in a good way, because I like the character. Like he's a fun, jovial. He really plays well off Tom Holland. So that would hurt me that he becomes Hobby, but that would be cool though.
Right. It would make Hobby a very obviously I would be slightly disappointed because that's not who Hobgoblin actually is. Yep. Like Ned Leeds in the comic was actually brainwashed into thinking he was the Hobgoblin. So maybe that's what we'll get. Maybe that's what we'll get here. Because I also, literally a few minutes before that, I saw that Willem Dafoe was going to be in it. And I was wondering, oh my God, what if the Green Goblin turns Ned against Peter and he's a Hobgoblin?
Oh, that could actually work, You could have interaction with the Green Goblin, and then somehow he kind of influences Ned. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Man, that's the beauty of crossing these things over, and because you've already got an established, say, Green Goblin in the MCU. There's not really. He's from another reality, but you can just forego all of that setup. Just have there's the Green Goblin, and you can kind of fast track stuff. Yeah.
The terrible Green Goblin is supposedly in this movie too. I think the Andrew Garfield version.
Hang on, I've already forgotten the. Oh yes, the he's a Dutch. Is he a Dutch actor? He's a younger guy.
Yeah, I can't think of his name. He played Harry Osborn in those movies.
Yes,
but,
he had, but he looked.
I hated that Goblin.
I wasn't a big fan of Amazing Spider-Man, to be honest. I liked Andrew.
No.
Yeah, I liked Andrew Garfield. He was good. I just found Mark Webb's direction, I think, a little slow. But I think Garfield was great.
I didn't like any of the villains in those movies.
Agreed.
They were all very. Yeah. The Lizard was okay, but he's just the Lizard.
Yeah. He was probably the best one. Electro, Rhino, I just thought and Goblin was
Oh.
that was terrible. Yeah.
I thought Rhino was on the same level as like Mr. Freeze and Batman and Robin. It was that bad. But and
Yeah.
Electro was getting there too, but apparently they're bringing him back for this.
Well, again,
movie as
hopefully,
well.
yeah, hopefully just for a cameo. I'm thinking. This is in my head canon. Hopefully, Jamie Foxx will come in and it'll just be like a show and go. Like, hello, oh,
Yeah.
geez, there's Electro, but he's and then he goes away. You know what I mean? Because there's just
I would give.
yeah. There's
I
so
would give. I would give any. I'm sorry. We keep talking. At the same time.
We're on the same wavelength. No, I'll just quickly say that like there are so many characters in Spider-Man 3, they can't give them all the limelight, so they're just gonna have to be fleeting, I reckon. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I just would give anything to have Jamie Foxx wear the green and yellow Electro costume,
Yes.
but that might be a little too silly for the MCU. I don't know.
Well, I didn't mind his aesthetic. I didn't mind how he looked actually. The kind of
Yeah.
blue glowing. I think it was okay, but he just really bad. He just really got not much in the script. Yeah, it was really terrible.
Terrible lines. Like,
Yeah.
Jamie Foxx is a really good actor, but he was just given crap.
Oh, so was the Rhino, Paul
Yes.
Giamatti.
Oh, Giamatti, yeah.
Giamatti, a fantastic actor. It's totally wasted.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Here's how I've always put it. Okay, so I thought Tobey Maguire was a great Peter Parker, but not a good Spider-Man. I thought Andrew Garfield was a terrible Peter Parker, but a great Spider-Man. And I think Tom Holland is good at both.
Yeah.
So...
Yeah, I think that'd be fair. I mean, I didn't mind Tobey Maguire as Spider-Man, but yeah, I just remember Tobey Maguire bloody dancing down as an emo guy, dancing in the street. That's probably the worst, most cringe-worthy thing I've ever seen.
Oh my god! Yeah, I think I'd rather watch Batman and Robin than watch that.
That's crazy.
Here's an interesting. This is the last thing I'll say about the Spider-Man 3 thing. I'm wondering if they're going to put Venom in it. Since, he's a Sony.
Oh, you mean Tom Hardy?
But, yeah. What I would really like is if they had Tom Hardy Venom eat the Venom from Spider-Man 3.
Topher Grace, yeah. Just get rid of him,
Yeah.
really, because, he was another abomination, I think, of a character portrayal.
I think the only thing worse than him was probably the fart cloud Galactus from the second Fantastic Four. But
I don't know. Jury's out for me. I think Venom's probably he's probably worse.
the Juggernaut in X-Men 3 is up there too. That was pretty bad.
Oh, Vince Jones. Yeah, he was.
Yeah.
See, these great legacy characters, and they just don't get their due. I was kind of happy with Jamie Madrox, so they had a very small role. It was good to see him as the multiple man. He's one of my faves, so he was good in X3. The Beast was great in X3, I thought.
Love Kelsey Grammer.
Yeah, he was perfectly cast.
Yeah.
But yeah, anyway, I think I hear... Oh, Samuels, you did take your sweet time, my good sir. It's okay. We like to, just relax and chillax here. We're having a good chat with Russell. Russell, this is Samuels.
Oh, hello, Samuel. How are you?
Yeah, he may sound a bit grumpy, but he's a really good sort. Thank you, Samuels, anyway, for coming over. Russell, can I interest you in anything that will wet your whistle?
Well, you mentioned whiskey earlier, and it's kind of cold out. How about a hot toddy?
Oh, hot toddy, there you go. Samuels, I'm sure you can stoke the fires there. If you can do that, make it a nice hot toddy. Make it two. I'm up for that as well. It's not too hot here. Oh, actually, I shouldn't give the game away because, of course, Russell, you and I are in the same room. Of course.
Yeah.
So, yeah, with the roaring fire. Make that two, please, Samuels. Thank you very much. All right, there's Samuels. Glad that he could be of service to you, Russell, as well. So,
Of course.
Moving along, let's get into the core questions. Now, these are the questions I always ask the guests because it's just fun to know about your fellow loony. And so what we've learned now, right off the bat is that a big Godzilla fan for you, Russell, which is really cool to hear. Obviously, you love your MCU stuff with WandaVision, and no stranger to the likes of, say, Hobgoblin. But we always kick off with a big question, big first question. How did you get into comics?
Well, my first memories of anything comic book related, I feel like this will be a typical answer for anybody my age. It was Batman the Animated Series, X-Men, Spider-Man the Animated Series, and then from there, my dad, he was a comic fan when he was young.
That's cool.
He kind of grew out of it, but he always loved showing me comic book related stuff, and so I kind of got that from my dad. Of course, now like I feel like I turned it up to 11 because I know stuff that he's never even dreamt of. So
you ran with it. You took that ball and you ran with it. That's awesome.
Yeah. It's like one of three things that my dad kind of like. My dad tried to, teach me how to hunt and fish and all that stuff, being a country boy, and I was like, none of that stuck with me. It always put me to sleep, and I'll eat animals, but I don't want to hurt them.
Fair enough.
But no, but he introduced me to comics, as well as I'm a big fan of hard rock and heavy metal. That was the thing he introduced me to, and he introduced me to wrestling. So
it's great that your dad's influenced you in that regards, just with these with his interests. So that's, I mean, going back a couple of steps here, because I really want to kind of dive into it here, Russell. So when you were exposed to the likes of the animated series and the X-Men and stuff, were you into, I guess, other cartoons that kind of had a similar style, or was that a real eye opener? Was that kind of like the gateway for you to see like superheroes and that kind of genre of storytelling?
Oh yeah, that I mean, X-Men and Batman are the first TV shows I ever remember, except for maybe Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, or a lot of people would say the Ninja Turtles, but I was more familiar with the first two live action Ninja Turtle movies more than I was the cartoon. So
wow.
But
I guess, I mean, that was where I was edging towards. I thought maybe, like, had you seen something like the Morphin Power Rangers or TMNT, and then that kind of, the Batman animated series and X-Men probably kind of fed off that, when you were recommended it. Yeah.
I'd say the other big cartoon from when I was a kid, which I guess is technically a comic book themed thing, was Dragon Ball Z.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously that's a manga, which is still a comic book, but
yeah. It's so interesting to hear, because it's funny that you preface it with, this is probably how a lot of people started, and it probably is. But what I found interesting doing these Olaras is that people do come at comic books from very different angles. Like, there's a big contingent out there, I know, that came to comics through gaming, and also actually through just the love of literature. Their grandparents or parents may have given them some books, and then they kind of graduated to comic books. So it's very interesting to see how I very much kind of like you as well. It was through TV for me. The early ones that weren't superhero, but they were kind of in that same mold, were Masters of the Universe. I love that show.
Love Matt.
Yeah.
Did you ever watch the 2003 version?
No.
2002?
No, but I've heard of it.
Ray.
Is it good?
It's so good.
I'm looking forward to the Kevin Smith one, but
oh yeah.
Yeah.
No, the 2002 one is my favorite.
Okay.
And unfortunately, it got canceled on a cliffhanger.
Oh no.
But I think that one's great. I love the old '80s Masters of the Universe, but here's my problem with most '80s cartoons, and it was just the time frame that they came out.
Sure.
All of the villains in those are cowards. Like
Yeah, fair enough.
Skeletor never really wanted to fight He-Man. He would always run away, or you know.
Yeah. He had a very cowardly
And,
voice as well.
Cobra Commander was a coward. I guess Megatron wasn't really. He kind of fought. He was on the front lines with them. But,
Mumra, I mean, I used to love Thundercats. Mumra took no slack from anyone. He was
was
cool.
scary.
He was.
But I remember when I saw Thundercats when I was a kid, and that intro where he hurt.
He just.
I looked at my grandmother and I was like, "Turn this off."
But you wouldn't be wrong. I mean, it's such a bit of a risky scene there for young kids because it affected me in the same way. It's like, oh, geez, this guy's a bit scary.
Right.
But yeah, Mumra, stuff like that. Mask. I don't know if you ever came across Mask as well.
I am familiar with Mask. See, I'm weird in that. Okay, I was born in '93, so I'm fairly young, but I retroactively was introduced to all this '80s stuff.
Oh yeah,
through like hand-me-downs and so I feel like obviously I didn't grow up and I didn't experience it as it was happening, but I love. Like, I've got a little Masters of the Universe display here.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
So, I mean, well, actually, bouncing to that then, we might as well. I mean, you are an avid action figures collector, right? So, these are one of the things that kind of we have spoken about before, and like we've shared some photos. Well, you've shared like some really good photos of yours. I haven't got anywhere near as many action figures as you, but this is one of the things that you kind of it was a natural. Progression, I guess, from comic books?
I think the figures probably... You know what? I almost think the figures kind of came at the same time as I was seeing the cartoons. So I might have figures to also blame for me getting into comics. Because, when I was a kid, I was blessed. I was a little bit spoiled as a child. My dad, every week, he would take me to... There was this... It's a chain here in America, but it's kind of died out. It's called Big Lots.
Okay.
And every week he would buy me a toy, and it was almost always a Marvel one. And this is weird. This is real weird. But one of my earliest memories are 2 times that my dad got me a figure. One was he had went away on a business trip and came back, and he brought me my first Darth Vader.
Ooh.
And I was like, oh. I had seen the movies on TV because this was before the special editions were released in theaters or whatever. And but the other time is I distinctly remember going to this Big Lots place and picking out Hobgoblin.
Oh yeah.
And that is the moment that I fell in love with the Hobgoblin right there.
Ah, nice. That's again, I mean, similar to what you said before, like about myself and King Kong. You always kind of draw back to those connections when you were young. Because he's become, he's become a lifelong kind of favorite of yours, right? So.
Oh yeah. And then when I actually started to read the stuff that he was in, I was like, man, this is really good. Like, so, some characters you like, and you're like, you go and like read their stuff, and I was like, God, this just sucks.
Yeah.
But,
well, luckily, Hobby had he had quite a lot of exposure. Like, there was a lengthy kind of arc to his stuff, which is good. As opposed to, say, some other Spider villains. I don't know, like Carrion. I remember Carrion. They're kind of one-off kind of things. But Hobgoblin.
I do actually really like Carrion.
Carrion's cool. I know. Yeah, me too.
But,
from Spectacular Spider-Man. Yeah. but yeah, Hobgoblin got a lot more attention, which is cool. What was I gonna say? Just lost me there at the moment. But so you also mentioned. We'll get into your action figures. But you also mentioned that you're a big fan. We've had this discussion of the Black Spectre for Moon Knight as well.
Oh yeah.
And Null. So I think we did touch upon this last time we spoke. But for both of them, let's start with Black Spectre. Like, how did he become like a favourite of yours?
Well, when I was getting into Moon Knight, okay, I used to collect comics strictly based off villains that I liked. I'm kind of villain obsessed. You'll ask anybody that knows me, and they'll think, "Oh, he's such a good guy. He wouldn't hurt a fly." But for some reason, I'm obsessed with the bad guys when it comes to fiction.
Does that go with wrestling as well? Do you always go for the bad wrestlers? Like
you know what? The bad guys are always usually more fun. Especially now that, you know, I know more about like wrestling as an art form and the behind the scenes process and how they try to elicit a reaction from the crowd. And the bad guys, genuinely, if you in interviews and stuff, the bad guy wrestlers say that it's more fun to be bad.
Yeah.
Which I feel like it would be in general, because there's like that deep inside everybody's brain is like that little, you know, it's like the little devil on your shoulder.
Yeah.
And you think, I mean, like, life would be so much easier if I wasn't a good person. But yeah.
No, that's true as well. Sorry, what I was thinking about before was I was going to say, and I wanted to say this before it just escaped me again, was that it's so funny. Like, you could have grown up in the 80s, like as a child, so you would have fit in so well there, Russell, because you mentioned you got into like comics through the TV show and the toys, and you know, if you look at He-Man and the Masters of the Universe, Thundercats, all that sort of stuff, they weren't comics. They were basically a marketing ploy. The cartoons kind of fed the toy line, and the toy lines were the ones that brought in the bucks. So I can see a correlation there. I thought that was really cool. But yeah, so you like the villains.
We were talking about Black Spectre, and I went on a tangent.
Yeah, no worries.
But I used to collect comics based off the villains, and when I was discovering Moon Knight, I was like, well, which one of his villains, because you know there's not that many Moon Knight villains that stick around.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, there's Bushman, he's kind of cool, and that Morpheus guy, he looks fun. And then I was like, who is this?
Yeah.
And it was the Black Spectre, and I was like, he just looks amazing. He's got like this medieval helmet and his red eye, and he's got a big sword and a mace, and I was like, who is this?
I know, it's crazy. Yeah, it's so funny. He's meant to be the antithesis of Moon Knight. But he's a very interesting character, and we did cover that Benson run God in Country, which was an absolute brilliance to have gone through him again. It would be interesting to see if potentially, how would you feel if Ethan Hawke was to become Carson Knowles? Is that something that you'd like, or do you think he's a bit miscast for that?
No, I think he's great. I haven't seen too much with Ethan Hawke, but he was in my favorite horror movie of all time, Sinister.
Okay.
And he was so good in that.
Okay. That's great.
And you know, he's an older, but he's weird because like he can look weathered but also still be attractive.
Okay.
And so I feel like he would really appeal to Black Spectre because, you know, Black Spectre, Vietnam
vet, you know, that sort of thing.
Yeah, he's been through a lot. But he's also like, he's two sides of a coin. Like, one side he's like down in the dumps, like practically, you know, he looks like could drop at any moment. But then he's also very charismatic. You have to be when you're a politician.
Yes.
Especially a crooked one.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah, nice one. Just edging back towards now, like one of the other questions. Just incidentally as well, do you have a local comic book store, an LCS, that you go to frequently, or?
okay. So yes, to put it quickly, yes. My cousin has it started out as a pawn shop, which it's still called. It's called Easy Cash and Pawn. I'll plug it for him on the podcast.
Yeah, please do. Yeah, sure.
But it's really turned into a collectibles and comic store.
Okay.
And I there for a while. I was doing the ordering for him, like through Diamond and all that stuff.
Oh wow.
And there was no comic store in my neighborhood for like most of my life, 20 plus years. Now there's 3. So
I mean, you've got to put that down to the success of the movies, right? I mean, and more popular culture, which is really good, good. Yeah.
I would also say, because in terms of my cousin at least, the comics don't sell as well as the figures do.
Okay, right.
There's people that will travel just to come buy figures from my cousin. Like he's a NECA vendor.
Oh,
so,
NECA.
Yeah. So NECA makes a lot of good stuff, and in some states, they're scarce. You can't really get them. But
Well, that's good to hear. Yeah.
He makes way more money off of figures than he does comics, and it kind of makes me sad. But I also got to think, well, we're in a small town, so.
Oh yeah, true as well. I mean, does he do online sales and all that as well? So
he does. He has like an eBay store, but he doesn't have like a website or anything.
Okay. Well, I mean, I wanted to add that in, Russell, as well, because I felt that the last few Isla Ras had dropped off. I really do want to promote like LCSs and stuff. So, whether or not you, the fair listener, are near the area, it's always great to know what's out there, and you may well be near Easy Cash and Pawn. So, a big shout out to all the LCSs out there doing the hard work and keeping the industry up. So, a big cheers to them. Yeah, but Russell, also going on to, I mean, we're talking about Black Spectre. One of the other big core questions I do ask is your introduction into Moon Knight. How did you get into him? Why did you find him such an appealing character? I mean, he isn't a villain, as you were saying. Like, you tend to go through the villains, but I guess, was it the Black Spectre that kind of got you into Moon Knight by default?
No, I wouldn't say that. I feel like the first time I ever saw Moon Knight was probably, I think he was in the first Marvel Ultimate Alliance game.
Okay, yes.
And that was probably the first time I saw him. And then I had a buddy who wasn't into comic books at all, but for some reason he had gravitated towards Moon Knight. And I think it was because he saw the Moon Knight Marvel Legends figure.
Uh-huh.
And the first one, like the Toy Biz one back in the mid 2000s. And
still a good one. That's a nice
one.
Oh,
yeah. And I at the time I was like, yeah, he's cool. I mean, I didn't know anything about him. So then years and years later, I don't know. I think I saw some. I can't quite place it, but I'm pretty sure I saw David Finch's Moon Knight art.
Oh, okay.
And I was like, whoa. and you know what? As Moon Knight kind of looks like a villain.
He does. He does. Yeah.
So maybe that's why I gravitated towards him. But and he kind of has, if you think about it, he's got a very similar outfit to Hobby. He got
does,
the and also Doctor Doom. So which I love Doctor Doom. I think Doctor Doom's the greatest Marvel villain of all time. Not my favorite, but the greatest.
He is great. Yeah, I do love him. I mean, that's true. I think whether you like David Fincher's art or not, and I certainly do. I think he's great. But he does, if you're not into that kind of what would you call it, over muscled look,
Yeah.
then obviously it won't be for you. But you can't deny that he does draw a striking Moon Knight. I mean, whether you like the run or not as well, Moon Knight does just look kick ass in that. And I totally agree. I totally can see why you would have been kind of drawn to that, because he does, particularly in the Finch run, he does look evil.
Yep.
Like if you compare that to, say, the Doug Bench Sienkiewicz run, or even if you look at, the Jason Burrows run, Moon Knight, he's very, very clean looking. The Finch run, he's just dark and in the shadows, and really good.
I think that, it's kind of tied in. I think that's why I love the Hulk too, is because he's a monster.
Yep.
I grew up on Universal monster movies, and like Godzilla, and like, this monster is also a superhero. That's cool.
Yeah, I mean, because I'm a big. I mean, you and I both know that we're both big Hulk fans, and I can't put my finger. I think is when I was young, I was just drawn to this fact that this just uncontrollable, strong, just kind of force. Was what really appealed to me. It wasn't even the. Maybe it wasn't even that transformation. It wasn't the Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde thing that got me. It was just that the Hulk was strong, and he was he was a menace.
I totally get that, because as a kid, and even kind of now, I feel like, oh man, I'm a weakling. Like, I think I always enjoyed the Hulk because he was everything that I couldn't be, and but also now that I'm older, I'm like, oh, I kind of wish I was like Bruce Banner too. It's like he's really smart, and,
without all the mental hang-ups though. I mean, he's pretty messed up in there. But I'm glad to say also as well, my little fella Finn, he's loving the Hulk at the moment. So I gave him a balloon of the Avengers, and it had everyone on there. So that's Captain America, that's Iron Man, that's Black Widow, that's Thor, that's a Hulk. I said, which one do you like the best? And straight away, Hulk. It's like, okay.
Hulk is just a fun. I mean, we know that the Hulk gets very cerebral and psychological. But at his base level, it's just like, he smashes stuff, so he's fun.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm even reading the earlier stuff now as well, and I love, I like the leader. He's really cool, because again, it's a very simple notion, but him being like the brains version of the Hulk, both gamma radiated. Hulk got the strength, he got the mind.
I was very, very close to putting a leader issue on my board, because the leader, I don't know, he's not quite there, but he's up there with old Hobby.
Yeah, really?
If I had to pick like a second tier, it'd probably be like the leader, Apocalypse, and Dormammu are like
big hitters there. I mean, the leader could arguably be because Apocalypse, Dormammu, we're talking about massive hitters there. But the leader is, he's by his own rights, he's pretty good. But no, I love him as well. I'm thinking of getting the Hasbro figure of him. I haven't got any villains in my action figure. Yeah, I reckon he'd probably be him or Doctor Doom would be my first villain.
Well, here's the thing, Ray. I have 3 whole shelves of 2.5 shelves of Marvel Legends, and there are 3 heroes on all the shelves.
Whoa, really?
Yes, everything is villains except for Moon Knight, Spider-Man, and the Hulk.
Oh, that's a nice trio right there.
That is my Marvel. That's my Marvel Holy Trinity right there.
That's so cool.
Now, I used to have more heroes, but I mentioned in the last time I was on the show that I moved, and I sold a bunch of my collection. Well, not just comics, I sold a bunch of figures too.
Ooh, that would have hurt.
Yeah, but it was necessary. Like, it needed to happen.
Yeah.
You give and you take. So
that's true. I mean, yeah, exactly. You can always grab him again somehow, maybe, you know. So it's nothing is lost forever. Speaking of nothing lost forever, Samuels, you lost yourself around the mansion, did you? We're here. Yes, we're here. Thank you. The hot toddies are coming. They're good. There you go. There you go, Russell. Hope that's good. Hope that's timely.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Samuels. Nice and warm, with a roaring fire. The bearskin rug, it's all good. Thank you very much, Samuels. Please compliments also to Netta, because we know she does all the work. Thank you. I'm terrible to Samuels. No, he's good. He's a good egg.
My hot toddy's a little cold.
Oh, jeez. Okay. I'll have to hang on. No, he's okay. Okay. You warm it up, Samuels. Thank you. Okay, he'll grab it. He's very good. He's very good. I'm only, I'm joshing. Yeah, right. So, actually, I guess I want to actually get this in there before I forget as well, Russell. So we're talking about your action figures. Oh, no, actually, no. I want to talk about your writing as well. So, again, Loonies, you may be aware that Jack Russell, you know, in between the full moons, you do write. You are part of the ITK Scribes. We write some articles along with Justin the Owl. Writing, like, how did this come about as well? Because writing is a particular discipline as well as a creative outlet.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm too good with the discipline part of it, but well, see, I feel like, okay, when I was growing up, I never had like an outlet for my creativity. Mm-hmm. Like, I would draw, and I was never patient enough to draw really well. Never played an instrument. I like to sing, but I'm not good at it. But writing, it always gravitated towards me, because, like, you know, most people like comic books for the art, and I love the art, but I like the story more.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I took up writing. Like, I don't write as much as I should, and, like, you know, to be honest, since the last time we've talked, I've been kind of disgruntled with writing. I've hit kind of a rough patch. Last time I was on the show, I was in negotiations where people had asked for, like, my portfolio and do all this stuff, and then they've just ghosted me.
That can be disheartening for sure.
Yeah.
And you know, peaks and troughs. I mean, if there might be a dry patch, but then again, you might find the pen again, and then you might pick it up and start. Yeah.
I'll tell you what, something that's really inspired me is I listened to your Isla Raw with Will Allred.
Yeah.
And man, that got the writing juices pumping for sure. So.
Oh yes.
I would love to have a chat with him to see how he goes about, you know, building a Kickstarter and finding artists, because nobody around here wants to draw comics. So
yeah. But a lot of the talent is overseas as well. I mean, and the beauty these days is that you can do it because of emails and such. But yeah,
right.
Yeah, but I'm happy to, definitely. I mean, Will, if you are listening, please, drop a line to Russell. But in any case, I'll give you some of Will's details, Russell, as well. And for sure, I mean, Will, he motivates me as well. He really inspires me to write as well. He's a great, prolific writer. He's got a very good, I should say, not regime. He's got a very good routine with keeping writing regular, which is I think you must do, I guess, if you wanted to do something like his Kickstarter, because Will was saying that, you know, there's a lot that goes into it other than just the writing bit. So he's phenomenal in that regards. But yeah, just a big shout out to Will, a big shout out to his Kickstarter as well, the Crossover Division. It's worth checking out. But yeah, okay, so and writing, Russell, as well. We're talking comic book scripts. We're talking prose. What are we talking?
Well, a bit of both.
Yeah.
I kind of had some ideas for some short stories.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I've written a poem, I keep plugging the poem because I'm proud of it.
Yeah, very good. Yeah,
but yeah, I've written a few comic scripts, like first and second drafts.
I
like,
didn't. Yeah.
Go ahead.
Sorry. I was going to say I didn't realize how, like, I mean, the format for a comic book script, because I'm kind of diving into it myself, and I didn't realize how much really goes into it as being the writer, because the format I'm using is from Greg Pak, the comic book writer, and there's a lot of, like, you have to go really panel by panel, and you have to describe what each panel is, and I thought a lot of that was collaboration with the artist, but it seems like the writer has to have a firm idea of that. So I'm finding it very challenging, but a very fun, worthwhile exercise. Right. Yeah.
Well, I think, everyone does it differently. So, but yeah, I also used Greg Pak's template, I think.
Yeah.
And what I love about comic script is, I find that when I'm writing prose, I over descript things.
Yeah.
Like, I almost feel like I'm Tolkien or Stephen King, where I have to, describe every little detail, because we're always taught that you don't want to be bland in your writing, but you also don't want to be too descriptive.
That's true.
Like, especially with stuff like horror, like it's scarier when you let the reader imagine it themselves.
Oh, that's a good point.
But yeah, comic scripts, you kind of you have a set in stone, like, this is one panel, and you describe within the panel, and then you just say what the person says. I feel like it's a way to be really creative, and you can still be a very fluent writer, but at the same time, you kind of have the constrictions of being in a script format.
Yeah, no, I totally agree as well. It's just an extra thing to think about. So I'm not sure if this is the right way to go. The way I go about it is I just release myself from that format, and just I write it almost like a play, just the dialogue, and then I'm trying to fit that into the format. So it actually takes double the time. Of course, I guess writers more attuned and used to the comic book script format would probably be able to just like write the dialogue in tandem with considering the panel, the layout, any captions that you need. But it certainly keeps me off the streets. So,
I feel like in another lifetime, Ray, you would have been a fantastic playwright or a radio show writer, because your audio dramas are really well written and they're really good.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah,
well, it's so funny, like you mentioning about the over articulation and overwriting it, and that's what I have learnt just doing that. Writing a script and then going through that post production process. Like, there are a lot more lines than, say, a lot of the actors do record, and I just take it out because it's like, this is just too much,
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm slowly learning. Hopefully a bit more economy in writing, rather than asking actors to read a whole lot of lines that never make it to the final cut. But
I still need to turn in my little.
Yes.
I was gonna write a little bumper or a post credits scene for.
Yes, please. Yeah.
Maybe I'll act in it too.
Yes.
Because
for sure.
I've become known locally as doing very good impressions. So.
Ooh, yes.
I've always wanted to try my hand at voice acting, but it just seems like an incredibly draining job. But
it doesn't it sound like it is fun though, isn't it? Like, it sounds like a fun thing to do, and I've luckily a lot of people have been so receptive to it, because I guess it's something that you go, oh, I can do this, and you don't have to perform in front of anyone. You can just do it, in a room. I find it very appealing.
Yes, for sure.
Well, Russell, I think it's about time we should get into fair listeners. We do have 4 Desert Island books that Russell has chosen. So these are books that Russell cannot live without. We're going to start with rank 4. We'll go up to rank 1. But before we do that, Russell, we usually whisk ourselves away somewhere else. So if you can just join me here, let's leave this room. Yes, as we walk down the corridors there, Russell, as always, I kind of give a quick tour. There's Mark Spector's bedroom with the jacuzzi, as always. The door's a bit ajar there. Just don't poke your head in too much, because whenever Marlene is about, there's always some sort of shenanigans. Yeah.
I think I'm just going to put my hand over my eyes and you can hold my hand about me. So.
Yep, no worries. We'll just follow my footsteps as we walk down. Here we are. I wanted to show you this. Yes. This is the in-house temple room. As you can see, it's quite solemn. There's not much in it but this huge statue of Khonshu.
I just stepped in something. It looked. Oh my God! It's Bushman's face. Can we get down?
Well, let me ring the bell. Oh gosh, we're going to get Samuels to take that away. Oh, it's Spector always leaving stuff about. He never cleans up after himself. Anyway, we're in this room. Okay, so if we need to bow our heads.
Hello, this is Khonshu. What do you require this time?
Hello. Khonshu, hi. Yeah, this is Russell. Russell, say hello to Khonshu.
Hello, Khonshu.
Yes, it's Russell. A big fan of yours. We, long-time listener, first-time callers, that sort of thing. Khonshu, can we be whisked away? We've got Russell's books, and we want to go somewhere relevant for his, at least for his ranked 3rd and 4th book. Is that something that you could do?
Well, I suppose, Ray, it's been a while since you've been asking me to do these little tidbits for you, but hold on tight as well, Russell, and I will whisk both of you away. Be gone.
All right, Russell, I think we're about to head off. Get ready.
I'm ready.
All right, listeners, we'll be right back in a new location for you to go through Russell's 4 Isla Ra books. Catch you soon.
Hey there everyone, I'd like to tell you about the YouTube channel I Am Your Target Demographic. If you're a fan of comics, we have plenty that you'll enjoy over there, including a series called Heroes Like Us that explores comic characters of all sorts of different identities. And we even have a series that defines words that are used in nerd culture that you may not know what they mean. So you can check us out by heading to YouTube and searching I Am Your Target Demographic, or look up IAYTD on any social media outlet.
Yes, welcome back, loony listeners. You are listening to Into the Night, the Moon Knight podcast. This is episode 187, and I am with special guest Jack Russell Moran, and we've just had a good chat. We've just been in the Grant Mansion. Russell, we are now in one of your first destinations here. A little bit icky?
Yeah, a little sticky.
What's going on here? I don't know. I mean, I guess it will all be revealed soon. I'm hearing some weird kind of sounds emanating from the walls. I've got some glob just falling on my shoulder and stuff. Let's hope it's not, toxic or dangerous or venomous.
There's a sign over here that says God is coming, and I'm kind of worried. So,
God, yeah, I'm a little worried as well. I think Khonshu is playing a little joke on us again. Always drops us in some weird situations, weird scenarios. But that's okay, we'll make do. So welcome back, listeners. We're going to get straight back into this. This is Russell's 4 Isla Ra books, and coming in at rank number 4, ding, we have Russell, Moon Knight, Volume 1, 25, subtitled Black Spectre. Yes, so this was your... this is one of your first of the 4 books. Now, Russell... albeit all the explanation on the other side of the break about your introduction and love for Moon Knight and Black Spectre, why this issue in particular?
Well, it's Black Spectre's first appearance.
Yes.
The the cover's great.
Mm-hmm.
It was, I think it was one of the first Moon Knight comics I bought.
Okay.
It's just so good, and it's a double size. So
Yeah.
I was thinking when I was trying to come up with my list, I was like, well, I can't really cheat and choose a graphic novel. And then I listened to the episode with Will Allred, and he chose a graphic novel, and I was like, what?
What did he? Which one did he pick? I can't remember. I thought he did. He?
The funniest thing, he chose the exact
Torment.
one.
Yes.
Yeah, that's the exact one that I was going to put on my list.
Triumph and Torment. Yeah, Torment and Triumph. Whatever.
Yeah, but I did not. So we're good.
Yes, good. Well, Will. Yeah, he likes to bend the rules, Mr. Allred. I think I let that one slip because. Yeah.
I also, sorry, I didn't. I don't want to give too much away, but I didn't include any DC books on my list, and I didn't include any indie books on my list. So that kind of narrows it down to what we've got. But I just wanted to clarify that I do love DC and indie books, but I kind of gave myself a little bit of a challenge by it was like, okay, we're on a Marvel themed podcast, so I only want to pick Marvel books, and I was racking my brain. I was like, because it was you. I know you take such glee in people struggling, but I wanted to include a Hulk book, but I was like, man, like I don't think I can pick just a single issue of Hulk. It's like
True.
It's so episodic and serialized, and everything really good. I mean, if you're going for Peter David or Al Ewing or the Roger Stern stuff, all of it's real good. But anyway, I feel like all the Isle of Ra's that I've listened to, no one has actually picked a Moon Knight book.
Oh, yeah. I can't remember. I think that, Josh has, for sure. I know that at least. He did a Warren Ellis one, issue 5, one of my favourite Moon Knight. Yeah. No, but this is a great one. And also, I was just about to say as well, Russell, it's a great bit of rationalising, I think, from you, because it is a vast undertaking to try and figure out what 4 books you want to take. So making that conscious decision of just like aiming for the one publisher, you kind of like, I guess, shortlisted yourself really well in that regard. So that's a really cool way to go about it. I did want to shout out a few DC things.
Yeah,
for sure. Yeah.
We don't have to discuss them because obviously I didn't have you read them, but Superman Annual number 11 for the Man Who Has Everything.
Oh yeah,
that was in consideration, and I'm not even a huge Superman fan, but I love that story.
Yes,
because I love Mongol.
Me too.
I can't remember the exact issue number, but it's the Batman story called Fear for Sale with the Scarecrow.
Right.
I also want to shout out the oh man, I'm blanking on the writer right now, so I'll go on to the next one. But the Denny O'Neil Question series.
Oh, okay, I've heard it's very good. Yeah.
Oh, if you love Moon Knight, you'll love it, I think.
Okay.
It's very 80s Moon Knight-esque.
Oh, lovely.
A quick indie shout out for Rye from
yes, Valiant Comics.
The newer Rye series is absolutely amazing.
By Dan Abnett, is that?
No, the one by was it Matt?
Matt Kint. Matt Kint.
Yes.
Oh right, okay.
Yeah,
yes,
that
one.
Is, amazing. Mm-hmm. I found the other. It's the Spectre run by by John Ostrander.
John Ostrander, yeah. I heard
And
it's very good.
also JSA by Jeff Johns and David S. Goyer. So,
Oh, I mean, they're good big ones. I mean, I've heard good things about all of them, really. I've read the Rye, which I absolutely love as well. So yeah, no, some great honourable mentions there, Russell. I'm going to have to pick that list off you as well, and I might add that in the show notes, just as additional bonuses for listeners out there who may want to check those out.
yeah. Well, let's talk about Black Spectre.
Yeah, well, I mean, I thought this issue was phenomenal. It's everything that is good about Doug Mensch and Bill Sienkiewicz. Lead off with the art is just fantastic. I mean, you're talking about Black Spectre looking so cool. He does not look any cooler than in this, like by Sienkiewicz.
And oh my god, especially like the scenes where Sienkiewicz does his, I call it the trippy style.
Yes.
Where
Is
it's
that
very
is that with the specs?
expressionistic.
Yeah. Yeah.
What?
Where it's kind of like he has a flecks of ink on there.
Yes.
Like, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, very.
And
very,
you can definitely see that Max Texeira definitely took from Sienkiewicz when he drew Spectre in the God and Country book.
oh, definitely. Yeah.
But yeah, oh man, the art is so good, and it's so like grim.
Yes.
And when I'm reading this book, you know, when you read a Spider-Man book, New York seems like a pretty swell place. But when you read a Moon Knight book, my God, New York seems like a shithole.
Yeah. It I don't know. There's just so much meat in this story by Doug Mensch as well. I just really enjoyed it. It really, again, the Benson, the God and Country does take heavy leanings on this story as well. Yeah. So
for me, it's really 1A and 1B. Like God and Country and this, to me, seem like one big story.
right. Yes.
But yeah, and obviously he popped up briefly in between those two. But
yes. Yeah, and you see stuff like, which was alluded to in the Benson run, you see there's that relationship between Marlene and Carson. They interact a bit there with each other. And you see this, again, it's exemplified even more in the Benson run later on. You see this kind of like force that Black Spectre is on Moon Knight, and he gets kind of easily defeated in this. He just seems too fast, too strong. So immediately set up as a formidable enemy.
we were talking earlier about I hate cowardly villain.
Mm-hmm.
Black Spectre is the antithesis of that.
Yeah.
He's just so formidable. He literally beats Moon Knight in every aspect of his life.
He does.
And it's great.
He even beats him to, like, he actually puts on the cestices before Moon Knight as well. And Moon Knight gets punched in the face with it. And so he decides, okay, I've got to wear cestus, like those spiked knuckles myself. And, some listeners will know that's one of my favourite weapons of choice for Moon Knight. Because it's so gruesome to have spiked knuckles. But there are some interesting things here. So listeners, so in this issue, just a quick rundown. Moon Knight is trying to convince basically the populace that Carson Knowles, this upstanding politician, is in fact Black Spectre, and he's kind of met with derision first off, but at the same time, like psychologically, I think Black Spectre's getting the better of Mark as well. And so even like Marlene's against him, Frenchie's taken out. He gets beaten by Black Spectre's minions. Who's he called? What he calls them? Ghosts, right?
Yes.
Yes.
And I coined that phrase the last time I was on the show.
That's right.
What we could call the fans of Black Spectre.
That's right, ghosts. Yeah, for sure. Marlene's not in a good way. She has something she really wants to tell Mark, get off her chest. Basically, she wants to leave him.
Is Marlene ever in a good way?
I know. It'll be interesting to see her in the TV show. She does kick ass. She's not.
Yeah.
There's no shortage of that. But yeah, there's always something like she's unfortunately very. And could you blame her? She's unhappy with someone like Mark Spector.
I think it's.
Yeah.
I think it's 100%. Like I'm not dogging on her. I'm like her life is miserable.
Yeah, it is. Poor woman. And also this issue is quite gruesome as well. Again, I don't know how much you'd get away with in this day and age, but one of the guys that Black Spectre goes after, he ends up being hung in his car garage, kind of workshop thing. So really dark. Mensch really is creating. This is true urban street level stuff. And yeah, no, I really enjoy it.
I would love to see how a Spider-Man or a Daredevil would have fought Black Spectre. How they would have handled him. Obviously, Spider-Man has superpowers, so
Yeah.
it's probably going to take him down pretty easily. Or maybe a Punisher, But get those other street level Marvel heroes involved with Black Spectre, because he's kind of like I would love to see a storyline where Black Spectre goes to war with Wilson Fisk.
Ooh, yes.
Maybe like, you remember that Spider-Man story, Gang War?
Oh, was that in the 80s?
Yeah, it was like Kingpin versus the Rose versus Hammerhead.
Yes. Yeah.
And Spider-Man and Daredevil and Punisher were in the middle.
Yeah.
And just add Black Spectre as like the fourth party in there. That would be great.
Yeah, I'd like to see him go up against. I know it sounds a little bit of a cliche, but again, he's one of. I like the Black Knight. I think that would be cool, just because of the aesthetics, and I don't know what he's an Avenger Black Knight, and he's got the Ebon Blade. It's a bit different, but as it goes, I reckon that'd have a lot of good tussles. But street level, yeah, get him. I don't know, get him up against. It has to be someone who's not really too powered. Like, Daredevil, as you say, would be pretty good.
Dark Hawk.
Doc Ock.
Dark Hawk he's pretty cool. People make fun of Dark Hawk, but I think he's pretty cool, and he's coming back apparently.
Yeah.
So
he's so. I love it. He actually even beats Doom in the arrogance stakes. It's really funny.
Yeah.
I love reading him. Yeah. Actually, Russell, there's something. It looks like a head coming out of the wall. It's a bit weird, isn't it?
We will find you and eat both your arms and then both of your legs, and then we will eat your face right off your head.
Oh, okay. I don't think we're in. I think this planet's kind of almost living, Russell.
Oh, well, now I'm afraid. So.
And listeners, with that, we're up to rank number 3 here, and this is the reason why we are in Clintar. Is Russell, for your number 3 book, you have gone for Volume 4, number 4 of Venom by Donny Cates and Ryan Stegman. Now,
Yeah.
I know exactly why you have picked this, and having read it, I thought it was a great issue. Why don't you give the listeners a bit of a briefing as to what this one's about?
This one tells the origin story of Null, the god of the symbiotes.
The god is coming.
And
Yes.
It is so good.
Very different from Moon Knight 25. It's
yeah.
very cosmic based.
Yeah.
Yeah. But why? So basically, this is the origin of Null. It actually explains a lot about the symbiotes. What I liked is that it kind of addressed that whole thing of why they hate fire and why they hate like sound, like sonic sound. And Null is a very interesting character. I remember you saying the last time we chatted, Russell, that you would consider him, he would be a mainstay, and he's probably one of the best villains, right, that you consider?
Oh, you know, growing up, like I said, I didn't have a local comic book shop, so I read old comics. I didn't get to keep up with new stuff. Like I'd find comics at like a flea market or a yard sale or whatever. But and that was before I realized, oh, I can order online. But anyway, so just within the last 6-7 years, I've kept mostly up with modern comics. And like I was always feeling like, man, there's just no new villains that stick anymore. Like there's no new legacy villains. Like, I mean, you got your Green Goblins, you got your leaders, and you know, stuff like Red Skulls and Doctor Dooms. But every time they make up a new villain, they kind of just fall flat.
Yeah.
The first instance of a new villain that was created that I really liked was Muse. They created Muse in that Charles Soule Daredevil. Yeah. But then he kind of fizzled out after Soule left the book. Yeah. So,
and and Muse wouldn't be he is essentially street level as well, so wouldn't cause ripples in the Marvel universe. But Null definitely would. Yeah.
Exactly. Null is a new villain with a really cool design, a really cool origin, and what sold him for me, other than, you know, the look and just the idea that he's the god of the symbiotes, is literally the first thing that we see him do is kill a Celestial.
I know, that's no mean feat, you know, that's pretty... So where did he, like... Because I did read this, but maybe I've missed it. So where did he come from? Like, someone so powerful... it said in the beginning there was... Sorry?
The way that they describe it is that he just lived in that... In darkness. That's
darkness.
Just where he came from. Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe they're still being...
Yeah, but he beheads a Celestial, which is utterly amazing. And then you kind of get the origins of the symbiote, right? He uses the head similar to like Nowhere in the Guardians of the Galaxy. He uses that as his forge or his thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then sorry.
I was just going to say that we've been like indoctrinated into thinking that Celestials are like unkillable, and Null does it immediately.
Yeah. Yeah. And so, explain this, Russell. Then, so he kind of so he builds his armor, you know, which is kind of like the symbiote armor, and then he gets defeated, right? But he lands on a planet, and he starts kind of infecting those little furry beings with the symbiote. Or he kills them, right? And they seem to be living on. And then it just grows, but it goes to the point where this is actually a nice little connection with Thor as well. So Thor has a little battle with do they call it the Beowulf, which is great. I love the English literature connection.
I think it's the Grendel, which is
the Grendel. Okay.
From Beowulf. So.
From Beowulf. Oh yeah, sorry, Beowulf. I guess then they mistake. Did they mistake Thor as Beowulf? Because Beowulf is the hero that defeats the Grendel, right? So,
right.
Also,
that scene earlier where it showed Null in the black armor defeated. That was in Jason Aaron's Thor run.
Oh, okay, nice.
There was this black armor and this gold armor just lying there, and Gore the God Butcher stole the Necro blade, the black blade, from this black armored body. And so Donny Cates is explaining who that black armored body was, and it was Null.
Oh wow! Okay. Jeez.
Yeah.
That's cool. I like those ties. That is very nifty. But then, yeah, I mean, then it goes. He creates, like, I guess the minions but they basically create this planet, right, to enclose. It's the cage. It encloses Null. Because
after Thor hits him with the lightning, or hits the Grendel with the lightning, he kind of loses his psychic connection with the symbiote, so they gain sentience, and they're like, we should probably put this guy away.
Yeah, that's I forgot about that. Yeah, so Thor's lightning is the one that kind of severs that bond, and that's why they've imprisoned him. He's such a scary character. There are moments here where you see him. He's obviously holding Eddie Brock. Miles Morales is down there as well, but even when Miles strikes at him, he's got this very grotesque kind of look on his face.
His design is somewhat similar to another villain I really like, as Malekith from Thor.
Oh yes, yeah.
The comic version, not the movie version.
Yeah.
But he's got a little bit of that in there. He's got a little bit of Joker in there, and he's got, obviously he's got some Venom characteristics, like his tongue and his teeth and all that. But
it's a very simple design, right? But I think his mouth really defines him in that.
Yes.
Yeah.
He's just, man, I can't quite describe it. Like, I just love how powerful they made him. And, some people might think that, oh, God, here we go again, another villain that's just powerful for the sake of being powerful. But I feel like they do describe kind of why he's so powerful.
Yeah.
Donny Cates just built up this slow burn. It starts off with a bang with this. But they're just now getting to, like, the climax of this story now. Yeah. And this was what year did this come out? Was this 2016, 2017?
I think around then, yeah.
Yeah. So, slow burn.
Yeah.
And I won't spoil what's been happening currently, but, man, this story really has some big ramifications in hindsight.
Oh, wow, okay.
Yeah.
And how does Carnage fit into all this? He's a bit of a loose cannon of a symbiote, right?
Yes. Carnage comes into play a little bit later with the Absolute Carnage.
Yes. I love that, right? I love that.
Yeah.
Man. That was really good.
Null uses him as an avatar, and I think that was really cool.
It was ultra powerful. It was very, very what you want. It actually made Carnage full on scary. So right. So those are your two. Look, I'm feeling a bit uncomfortable here, Russell. There are little symbiote trendles everywhere. After what you've described of Null, I don't think we should stay here.
Yeah, I'd like to leave before God shows up.
Yes, so lucky we have a line to Khonshu. Khonshu, are you there?
What is it now, Ray?
Yeah, Khonshu, look, ha, very funny. You've got us into Clintar. Look, we've got 2 more books for talking with Russell. Can you please whisk us away somewhere else, a little bit more safe?
Well, I suppose so. Hang on tight.
All right, Russell. Okay, I don't know where he's going to take us, but let's get out of here before someone bloody sucks our brains out.
Okay, I feel a disturbance though.
I do. Something doesn't.
Wherever we're heading is.
It doesn't feel quite right. Yeah, there's a disturbance in something. Anyway, hang on. Here we go. All right, Russell, hi. Jeez, I tell you what, I am relieved to be away from that mud ball of a slime planet.
Nice and sunny, and
this is good, isn't it? We've got fresh air. Things are bright. Things are looking good.
I still feel like there's something just. You feel some kind of power circulating around here?
I do. I thought it was just my spacesuit just overheating, but no, I think you're right. Actually, funnily enough, Russell, I mean, Khonshu's changed our garb as well. We appear to be in military attire. I don't know why. But we'll,
wait a second. Wait a second, Ray.
Yeah.
I recognize these outfits.
Oh no.
Oh.
Well, they've got to be better than the symbiotes. Anyway, maybe this will give clue to the listeners what we're on about. Russell, for your rank 2 book, 2015, we've gone back a couple of years, Vader Down, #1 by Jason Aaron and Mike Deodato Jr. This is a great little read here, Russell. Why did you pick this one? And how can this, why take this one to a desert island?
Okay, so I got a long answer and a short answer. I'll give the long one first.
Mm-hmm.
To me, as a kid who loved Star Wars and who loved Darth Vader, I think he's arguably the greatest movie villain of all time.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe his master might take the cake as the greatest movie villain of all time for me, Emperor Palpatine. But anyway, but in those original trilogy movies, we never get to see the Vader that we really want to see.
Mm.
In A New Hope, he's literally only in the movie for 8 minutes. And
wow, is that all? Jeez.
Yes.
Yeah.
8 minutes. Empire Strikes Back, we see the Vader that we really want to see, but he when he's fighting Luke, obviously he's holding back because he's trying to constrain Luke, not kill him.
Mm-hmm.
And then in Return of the Jedi, he's holding back because he's starting to get the feels back for his kid. And we don't see Vader at his most powerful because he's turning good again.
Mm-hmm. So we never see Vader Max.
No. In the Marvel Darth Vader run by is it Kieran Gillen?
Yeah.
Yeah. Holy crap. That is the Vader that we have always wanted to see. And I was debating which one of these issues do I want to put on here, because there's so many good ones. There's a great moment in the first issue where he goes back to Tatooine and chokes out Jabba the Hutt. That one's cool.
Yeah.
There's one where it's the exact moment that he finds out that the kid that blew up the Death Star is his kid.
Ah.
That's a great moment.
That would be cool.
And there's a moment later where Vader visits this planet. This one's funny and cool. And these diplomats insist that he dances at this ball.
What?
And he's like, okay. And he basically just force grabs the guy and throws him all around the room a bunch of times.
Oh, no.
But I chose this one because not only is it this is the first crossover between the main Star Wars series and the Darth Vader Star Wars series from Marvel.
Mm-hmm.
I chose it for the last panel.
Oh.
That is one of the greatest lines in the history of comic books. That is.
Hang on. What? For listeners out there, what does Vader say at the end?
Well, Vader has crash landed on Brogus Voss. I think that's how you say it.
Yeah.
And he's surrounded by probably a battalion of rebel troopers.
Yes.
And he tells them, he says, he's like, surrender, Lord Vader, we've got you surrounded. And Vader ignites his lightsaber and says, I'm only surrounded by fear and dead men.
That's right. That is a pretty cool. Yeah. What does it say? He says, yeah, but that as well. But he. Oh yeah, I thought he said something more, but yeah, that's so cool. And I've got to put it down to Mike Deodato's art as well. What I found really awesome in this was the story, because it was a very quick one. Basically, Vader goes down to Rogus Vars, and he encounters Luke a little, in the air, but yeah, it all culminates in basically Vader down. But this is a big setup for him down here. But the art is just amazing in this. I mean, I am a fan of Mike Deodato Jr. It can be, for the most part, he does great art. Sometimes it falls a little flat, but his Vader is fantastic.
Oh my god, I can't stress enough that the Marvel Darth Vader series is probably my favorite Star Wars thing. Like,
Wow.
Even more than the movies.
Okay.
Because Darth Vader is portrayed so powerful, so evil, but you also get glimpses into the man he used to be, and how he is suffering.
Yeah.
Now there's been 3 Marvel Vader series, and this was the first one. This one takes place in between the original Star Wars and Empire Strikes Back.
Mm-hmm.
The second one, which is also really good, is by Charles Soule, and it takes place in between the prequels and the original. So we get to see Vader kind of coming into his own.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's a current one by Greg Pak. I haven't read too much of it. I'm waiting for like the trades to really build up before I read, because I like to read these in trade form because
you just can't wait
but yeah.
for serial.
but
yeah.
But that first Darth Vader Marvel series by Kieran Gillen is amazing.
Okay,
I would recommend it to any Star Wars fan, even if you're like a casual Star Wars fan who always wanted to...
Yes. Sorry, he always wanted to crack into it, and
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, that's exactly right. I mean, I am very much in that mold as well, a casual fan. I've got Marvel Unlimited, so I'm very happy. I might check that out then. Russell, like that Kieran Gillen one. Very impressed with this Vader down. The artwork again. There's this splash page of the destruction that Vader leaves in his wake, and you have corpses of people floating in space after he destroys a couple of the X-wings.
Oh yeah.
It's really, really cool. And just the aerial fights, or the space fights, I guess, with the X-Wings and Vader, it is phenomenal, the artwork. Not only Deodato Jr., but the colorist and the inkers as well, they do a great job. And it just shows, doesn't it? It shows how good a pilot Vader is. I mean, he's won against, a few squadrons, and he lays waste to one squadron. This is like one ship. And they're even confused at the beginning, going, oh, it must be like maybe a scout ship or something. It's lost its way, but then it's just Vader just starts attacking them, and it's amazing. Really good stuff. Very fun.
We also the characters that were introduced into that series were Dr. Aphra
Dr.
and
Aphra.
her two
Yes.
droids.
Yes,
The 2 droids are great. They're hilarious.
they but in a very awkward way, because they're so sadistic. Like,
yes. Yeah, they are. It's a assassin droid that looks like a protocol droid, like C-3PO.
Yeah.
So it's so good.
I'm looking at this. So it says in a very matter-of-fact way, "How splendid! Did you hear that, BT? We get to torture and exterminate indiscriminately." So it's like it puts me off, because you know, but that's good. It's done it in a very good way. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, they eventually got their own series, Dr. Aphra and them. So
I'm pretty happy. I think I got the first appearance of Dr. Aphra in, I think it was Darth Vader. Is it number 4?
Yeah.
I think I got that.
Yeah.
Apparently
that's
she's like
about right.
Yeah, I think, and she's apparently gone on to become this very popular character. So,
Yeah, there's rumors she might be getting a Disney Plus show, so that would be pretty cool.
Yes, I heard. There's a rumor, pure rumor. Before we get onto the last book here, sorry, Russell. I went to my LCS as well, and there were a few actors from Shang-Chi, because they filmed in Australia, actually made it to the comic book store. And one of them was Aquafina, and she picked up and she picked up a lot of Dr. Aphra comic books. So there's a bit of a rumor that she might be part, or she might be Dr. Aphra, or she might be in that show. Yeah. So there you go, a bit of a scoop there for anyone listening. So
I really think that this series as a whole is the reason that we got the really cool Vader scene at the end of Rogue One.
Oh yeah,
because
yep.
In that movie, he's written very similar to how he is in this comic.
Well, and
so
that was
if you like the snarky, but very sadistic and powerful Vader, like in Rogue One, you will love this comic. And also, there was something else recently where they just let Vader go ham. I think it was the Jedi Fallen Order video game.
Oh,
Spoilers. Okay. He shows up at the very end of that, and he's just he's so powerful that you can't even fight him. You have to run from him.
Oh wow! Jeez.
So
that's cool. I mean, that Rogue One scene at the end, I think that got every fan a buzz. It was like the first time on screen that you see Vader actually doing what everyone wanted to see him do, and that was to show off how powerful he is. Similar to, again, I think it's time enough now as well, similar to the end of The Mandalorian, where we really get to see a particular character just kind of unleash, which is awesome. I love that as well.
I love that they kind of, I mean, if you look at that scene side by side with Vader, it's the same thing. Yeah,
the styles. And it shows, I guess, how related they are. Yeah. All right, well, this is all culminating, Russell, to your last book, your number one. This is your book that you would, for absolutely sure, bring to a desert island.
Was it a surprise to you at all, Ray? Was it?
Not really. I was kind of like, as I was going through your list, I was kind of, okay, check. I can see why. It's like, there he is. And so, for listeners, the number one book for Jack Russell Moran is not Werewolf by Night. Of course. It is Amazing Spider-Man 250, written by Denny O'Neil and artwork by John Romita Jr. So for those that are familiar with the issue, this does have a Hobgoblin in it and Spider-Man. So Russell, apart from the obvious, I guess, why choose this issue to take on a desert island?
Well, first, I just want to... I don't mean to be that guy, but this was not written by Denny O'Neil.
Oh, wasn't it? Oops. Yep.
It was Roger Stern wrote this.
Okay. Excellent. I shall blame Samuels for that. Samuels, your notes suck. Okay, anyway.
old hot toddy, and now...
Exactly. Samuels. Well, that's docked 1 week's pay. There you go. Right, so Roger Stern, of course. I mean, you mentioned it prior as well. Like Roger Stern run 250. Why this one out of the many appearances of Hobgoblin in Amazing Spider-Man? Why this one?
Well, okay. I chose this one for a variety of reasons. The first one being this is my favorite Marvel Comics cover ever.
Good one.
Just the fire in the background and Hobgoblin looking so awesome, and Spider-Man just looks like he's struggling. He's just, and also the little thing in the corner that says it's Hobgoblin, and he says it's great, steal it.
Yeah, that's so cool. I love that. Yeah.
I actually have this floppy signed by Roger Stern. I met him at a Comic-Con like 8 years ago. So. It's my dream. It's my dream to like interview that man before he becomes one with the Force. But
how was he like when you did get it from him? Like, was he a pleasant chap or? Yeah?
Oh, he was. I mean, it was really a quick interaction. You know, he was very nice. I just told him that, hey, you created my favorite villain of all time. And he was just like, well, thank you. He was probably just like, get out of here. But he signed it for me and all this. It was that was actually the same con where I got Hobgoblin's first appearance.
Oh, okay.
But I didn't want him to sign the first appearance. I wanted him to sign 250. So
Nice.
because it was more sentimental to me. The other reason I chose this is because, well, let's be honest, Ray. I really could have put 249, 250, and 251 as 3 of my 4 because to me that's the culmination not only of Roger Stern's run but of the Hobgoblin. Like after this, Tom DeFalco took over and kind of made the changes.
Yes, the massive changes.
To who he thought the Hobgoblin should be.
Yeah.
And I just feel like, when you open this book, one of the first pages says this might be the greatest Spider-Man comic ever written.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that's true, but because really, as I was rereading this, I was like, well, I don't know if I should have chose this because it's just mostly setup for the next one. But there's a lot of good character stuff in this, I think.
Oh,
and it also just shows you the Hobgoblin is so underrated. It was the biggest mystery. The readers were just like, who is this guy?
Yeah.
You can even look at old from the letters pages and stuff, people guessing who it is. And a lot of people thought it was J. Jonah Jameson. There was people that thought it was Harry Osborn. There was people that thought it was Ned Leeds, oddly enough.
Yeah.
I think there were a few people that guessed who it really was because reading this in hindsight, you kind of get the little breadcrumbs he was leaving that he would eventually reveal in the Hobgoblin Lives miniseries from '96, where he got to come back, and I almost picked one of those as my 4, but
yeah.
But yeah.
I mean, this is chock full. Like, this is a Roger Stern book, so it's really cool. There's a lot here going on. I love the use of the Hobgoblin, as you say, his interaction with Spider-Man. I love the idea that he sprayed him with that gas that kind of nullifies his spider sense. And he gets wind of, in this issue, he gets wind of the Spider Tracer as well. He starts studying that. So very much a calculating villain, not just your kind of your Sandman or your Hydro Man, that sort of ilk.
Right. I prefer the intellectual, the cold and calculating villains, but ones who can also take care of themselves, and Hobgoblin definitely can.
Oh yeah,
because he's no wuss.
He's no slouch, and he certainly can handle himself as well here. But there are so many other things here within, like a typical, I guess, it's very typical of a Spider-Man book. There's so much going on, which I really enjoyed. The interaction of J. Jonah Jameson with Spider-Man. I love how Spidey just gives it back to him, you bloody old hypocrite. What are you talking about? And they have this argument in the apartment. But J. Jonah Jameson at the end of this issue, that's kind of the climax. He releases that story, right? He's talking about what was it titled? I created the Scorpion, an editorial confession. So there's a lot of this playing around at the moment as well. And it's great. I mean, and you get the little things as well. This is very small, I know, but the stuff like the spider torch or the spider belt thing, I love seeing that. You don't see that often enough. But even the fight with Hobby towards the end was really cool.
Yes.
And
their fight in the next issue it's pretty much the whole issue. So
wow.
And it's like a really cool sequence where they're fighting while on a van as it's going through, it's going full speed on the highway. So
yes,
action
movies eat your heart out. That's
yeah.
Even also the love. I love the little domestic touches as well. I can't remember her name. She's the landlord of Peter Parker. She's up on the roof. Yeah, whacking her rug, and
Who's
because
there?
sorry,
She's just like, ooh, who's there?
yeah, exactly. But he doesn't have the spider sense, so it just shows how much he relies on it, and he could have easily be found out by her that he was going into Peter Parker's apartment, that sort of stuff. So yeah, no, this is. I mean, you even get like I'm having a look here, a bit of the Kingpin in there as well. A bit of that was in a flashback, I guess, of him saving Spider-Man. So yeah, really good art. John Romita Jr. is a bit different as well, not his usual.
Yeah, his style would evolve into much more of a, I don't even know how to describe it, animated look.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I know exactly what you mean. Yeah.
This is more trying to emulate his dad, I think.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Yep. Yeah.
Which he does a really good job.
Yeah, it's great to see like artists being able to do these different styles. But no, certainly good. I thought I love the art all the way throughout as well. And yeah, of course, Peter Parker then resorting to his intelligence and his gadgetry, and he pulls out one of the old kind of spider sense trackers because he doesn't have that tracer. So I like it when Peter dives into his, his actual inventiveness.
Yeah,
which is kind of overlooked sometimes.
I love that Hobgoblin. He deduced that maybe Norman knew who Spider-Man was, and maybe I can find that out. Now, obviously, we don't get a payoff for that, but because Spider-Man sets fire to Norman's files or whatever. So.
Of course, those papers just like loosely left out there while in the middle of a fight. I mean, not the best idea from Hobgoblin, but yeah. But no, really, really good. So yeah, any other final thoughts on this last issue, Russell?
I just think if you're a Spider-Man fan, you should really read Roger Stern's run. It's really good.
Yes.
His original run, and then the Hobgoblin Lives mini-series that he got to write about 10 years later. I also think Hobgoblin was really cool in the what was that imprint called? The M2 universe with Spider-Girl.
Oh wow! Okay.
Tom DeFalco brought Hobgoblin into that, and he was really cold and calculating and powerful in that.
Wow.
But yeah, good stuff.
Nice one. Nice one. Well, thank you. Russell. Oh, hang on. Sorry. Hello, Russell. I think it's Darth Vader. Is that over there?
My God.
Oh gosh. Yes. Hello. Hello, Darth. We're just your typical officers here, of course. Nothing too suspicious at all.
He's as clumsy as he is stupid.
Anyway, Darth, don't mind us. We're just here to, surveil. We're against the rebels. Don't worry. We're doing our thing. We're just having a bit of a chinwag. That's all. We're talking about Spidey. You're a big Spidey fan, aren't you? Yeah, I'm sure you are.
You may dispense with the pleasantries, Commander.
I'm a big fan, Darth. He's choking me. Oh.
Perhaps you think you're being treated unfairly.
Darth, that's not a very nice thing to say. Anyway, we do have a mighty god on our side anyway, Darth. We have Khonshu, Have you heard of him?
Don't make me destroy you.
Oh, okay. Well, let's just leave that at that. Anyway, Russell, a huge thank you. A huge thank you on Rogus Vars on here. A little guest appearance there from Darth Vader, but a massive thanks for coming on the show and for having a good old chat.
Yeah, I always have fun talking with you, Ray, and I would love to come on and discuss when Moon Knight battles the Hobgoblin sometime.
Oh, I'll pencil it in. You'll be the guy I'm going to go to for that. Yeah, for sure, absolutely. And it's always fun having a chat with you, Russell. It's great to actually expand it beyond as well. Although we are a Moon Knight podcast, it's great to expand it and talk about other stuff as well. It's just, I think you and I are along the same wavelengths with a lot of stuff. So before we head off, Russell, is there anywhere that Loonies may find you and may contact you if they want to learn more about stuff? Any questions on Godzilla, Darth Vader, any of your favourite rogues?
I'm in the Into the Night Facebook group. You can find me in there, and my Twitter handle is @FussyRussy8960. So that's where you can find me.
No worries, and they will be in the show notes as well, Loonies. Of course, as well, Russell, you are in our Discord server too, known as the Jack Russell Moran, which is good. So you can find Russell there. This is actually where we're if we aren't on Rogus Vast, this is where we would be communicating via Discord.
Yes.
So a big thank you once again, Russell. Listeners, next phase we have... so this is the only episode for this week, only because all of our sessions are big sessions, so they deserve the full week to themselves. Next phase, we have a first quarter, so we'll have an idle chat first at the beginning of the week, and that topic will be who draws the best Moon Knight. That should be fun to discuss. Yeah. I'm sure you've got your picks there, Russell, as well. And towards the end of the week, with the first quarter, we have Conchu's Relics. So what we're going to do, something a little different, we're going to look at some of the reviews online of Moon Knight stuff, whether they be toys or the comics or the graphic novels or, what have you. And our special guest co-host will be Josh Johnson. So this will be fun. It's going to be fun, Russell, to go through what people kind of rated, whether it be the Moon Knight fan films or, basically some of the arcs. Apparently there are a lot of funny feedback and responses from it, so it should be good.
Yeah, I can imagine. This is kind of a side note. I'm in very early pre-production on some podcasts of my own.
Oh, nice. Yes.
Mostly revolving around pro wrestling, but okay. I have an idea for one that I would love to have you on, Ray, at some point. My pitch is to do, which kind of the theme of this whole episode, is a podcast where each episode we spotlight a different comic book villain.
Oh, nice one. Yes. I mean,
to my knowledge, there's not one that just talks about villains.
That's a great idea. So it's an awesome idea. That is an awesome idea. Villains are always kind of overlooked, I think. Just quickly as well, I always have that thought, like with the MCU films, right? You know how we all get worked up and stuff of heroes overlapping onto other films and all that.
Right.
That should be done with villains as well. They shouldn't always be killed off. You should be able to see villain. I would love to see an Acts of Vengeance on TV, like on film. And you have the likes of Vince D'Onofrio. You have Loki. You have all the villains together. Yeah. I think that'll be great. But a podcast, geez, Russell, that sounds great. I'll be in for sure.
Yeah, maybe we can talk about Black Spectre again.
Yeah, or absolutely.
Or we might need to give the floor to a different villain, because I think we've talked about Black Spectre enough. But
we can give it to I don't know, Leapfrog. Someone really bad. No, that's awesome. No, a big thank you once again.
Laser.
Yeah, he'd be cool. The Mad Thinker.
We could do Killer Strike.
Oh yeah, Simon Maddox for sure.
I think that podcast would get about 4 listens.
The Simon Maddox fan club. Yeah.
Yes.
We better get out of this planet before Darth comes and strangles us again, Russell. So a big thank you once again.
Yes, thank you for having me.
No worries. And Looney listeners, we'll catch you later.
Loonies, you can contact us through various social platforms. You can drop us a line on email at itkmoonknight@gmail.com. We have a Facebook page, facebook.com/itkmoonknight, and a Facebook group, facebook.com/groups/itkmoonknight. We are on Twitter. Our handle is at itkmoonknight, and we're on Instagram, Tumblr, YouTube. Just search for Into the Night, a Moon Knight podcast. We're also on Discord. Just search for the server Into the Night with a K. Please leave an iTunes rating or review if you can. It helps us reach other loonies out there too. Also, if you have any feedback, we also look to improve ourselves and the show. Finally, we're on all good podcast catchers: Apple Podcast, Google Play, Stitcher, Spotify, iHeartRadio, also on Podcoin. Please check us out and share episodes with your friends.
Moon Knight and affiliated characters, stories and events are properties of Marvel Characters Incorporated. Materials used and discussed within the podcast are intended for critique and review purposes only under the fair dealing concept of the current Copyright Act. The views, information or opinions expressed during the podcast are solely those of the individuals involved and do not necessarily represent those of the copyright owners.
Leave them to me. I will deal with them myself.